They typically, from the folks that we've talked to, folks that we know, they typically come out in negative behavior.
Exactly.
You end up hurting yourself and the people around you because you're not dealing with it.
Right. So then you end up projecting all of your, yeah. Well, I mean, that's really what homophobia, in my estimation, that's really what homophobia is really, negative feelings towards women and towards femininity that are projected onto, that men project onto other men and women project onto, that in any case.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's getting back to some of the confusion thing too. I always find it interesting when you actually talk to somebody that, understands that bisexual is it is a thing that deserves identity and representation.
Yeah. They are actually saying, according to scientific research, that they really think that it's a third orientation.
Right. This may be a little counterproductive then, but it's tough to find somebody who's 100% anything.
Sure.
Right.
And when you ask a lot of bisexuals, the question that I've been asked when I've admitted to being bisexual is, well, which one do you prefer more? Nobody believes you can sit on the fence 50-50.
Yeah.
Just like I think most of that center community doesn't believe anyone else is at 100% in either direction.
Right.
And I do think that giving voice and giving identity to bisexuality as a legitimate orientation takes some of the folks on both ends of the spectrum, and it scares them.
Right.
How can I be 100% homosexual, or how can I be 100% heterosexual if that's a real thing?
Exactly.
If it's a spectrum.
Exactly, and there's a legal argument behind it, which is sort of how the whole notion of bisexual erasure came into being. Was that there's this Yale law scholar, Kenji Yoshino, who wrote a thesis about this, because he was talking about he was talking with this class about how do laws that affect gays and lesbians also affect bi people. Mm-hmm. And so, he noticed this sort of thing where, as much as he and his class tried to focus on it, they kept on forgetting the bi people. Right. So he looked at it, and he looked at all of the scientific surveys, including Kinsey's, over the past 60 years, and he said every survey indicates that there are at least as many bisexual people as there are homosexual. So why is this? And we need to think about this clearly. Why is it that even though the statistical data indicates that really predominance of not a predominance, but I mean a great many bisexual people, where are they? Why are they absent in our community?
Well, it's interesting because I think that with bisexual people, depending on who they're with, you think that they're either straight or they're gay.
Right.
Exactly.
They're not obvious.
Right.
You don't look bi at any one point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you're either in a heterosexual relationship or a homosexual relationship. A bi relationship.
Yeah. It's
to trans folks.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to go with two gender non-conforming folks.
But this is part of the problem. We don't know what bisexuality looks like,
right.
and so it's subject then to all of our ignorance, all of our projections as to what we think it is. When in actuality, it's something really quite different.
Right. It's very interesting.
Well, we only have a few minutes left,
yes.
So we're going to thank you from wholeheartedly for coming on the show.
Yes, and you need to come back.
Okay.
We'd love to have you on again.
You can bring your new Lammy with you.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, God bless you. Thanks.
And you need to.
I'd love to come back with the Lammy.
I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get into trouble. Bring your husband.
Tell him he can stand behind the camera, and we'll worry about the rest when he gets here.
Okay.
But even if you can't bring your husband, please come back.
Well, thank you
We'd love to have you on again.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.
So there's a few things that we want to to bring up, mention
Okay.
before we completely run
We've
out of
got
time.
about 4 minutes.
The
Calendar time.
The calendar time, yes. Actually, starting tomorrow night, the Connecticut Gay and Lesbian Film Festival at Cinestudio, Trinity College in Hartford. It runs from the 21st through the 30th, every night during the week. They're showing a different selection of gay and lesbian and bisexual and transgendered films from around the world. You can go to outfilmct.org, or you can go to the Cinestudio site and find out what's showing when and get tickets. Connecticut Pride is coming up June 6th up at Bushnell Park. We will be there. We will be one of about 200 booths that are going to be there.
You're going to be there.
And you'll be there with
Combination.
So come on out. Bushnell Park ought to be very well decorated. Hopefully we'll have good weather and we'll get a great turnout. June is apparently Pride Month. There's a lot of things going on in June. Boston Pride is, I believe there are activities leading up to it, but at least Saturday the 13th is the parade, and the 14th they have a bunch of block parties scheduled in Massachusetts. Where to go? Provincetown International Film Festival is from June 17th to the 21st, and the New York City LGBT Pride Parade is on the 28th of June.
Cool.
So you can be busy every weekend in June and then every weekend in July with the Independence Day celebrations.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great summer. And next week we have Brett Bernardini coming on, who is producer and one of the founders of the Spirit of Broadway Theater, and that should be fun.
And, forget the name now, Buddy's Tavern. Buddy's Tavern. They're putting on Buddy's Tavern, and Metroline has a really nice review of it. If anyone wants to go out to that. It looks like it's going to be a very big deal, so catch it now while it's local and $30 before it hits Broadway, or off Broadway.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good. Anyway, Ron, thank you so much for coming. Please come back. And
so we'll see everybody at Pride, right?
I'll see everybody at Pride.
That's the 6th at Bushnell Park.
Bushnell Park. And we'll give a quick shout out to our friends at the New London People's Forum that hosted us Monday night.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We had a great time.
That was great. And they're going to come on the show.
They're going to come on the show sometime later.
Yes. That will be very cool. Anyway, join us again next week. And thank you so much for coming. And we will wish you all a good night.